What's going on, everyone? Welcome to another video. Normally I talk a lot about finance stuff. I talk a lot about, saving money and being smart. This video is going to be a little bit of a how-to, but it's going to save you about $30,000 to $40,000 because today we're talking about, I got the box here in my hand, adding Apple CarPlay to your car. So here are a couple things you need. You need some wrenches, you need the RoadTop unit, and you need your car keys. So my friends at RoadTop, and it's not a sponsored video, I'm going to call them my friends because I'm really impressed with the product so far. I haven't even installed it, but they're very, very responsive. I had a lot of questions with them, and you'll see in a minute here, the documentation is better than probably most American companies. So this is just a Chinese company that makes the middle piece, and I'll explain a little bit how I suspect this works. So I actually already opened it, so it might be a little bit messed up. So like I said, this is your manual, and it is super, super detailed. It talks about, this is the unit itself, I'll show it in just a minute, but it has QR codes for everything, so it explains everything really well, and there's videos along with it, so there's really no way of messing this up. But what I really like I said, the QR codes are really helpful. They lead you directly to the videos. So anyways, this is it. This is the manual, and this is the unit itself. There you go. Some of the ports, and I'll briefly talk about how this unit works. Basically what this unit does, it overrides your current car infotainment system. By when this car, have 3 buttons, home, menu, and the return button, by holding down the home button for 3 seconds, it switches to this unit and then uses this display as displaying Apple CarPlay. So basically it's in the background, but it also emulates a lot of the steering wheel controls, so you can still have a lot of options in that regards. It also uses the microphone, so basically consider it, you're installing another system in your car, and by routing everything through, your system will work normally, but when you hold the button down for 3 seconds, it will use Apple CarPlay. It will just use this, and basically the other stuff is just in the background, not really doing anything. So yeah, that's the unit. That's dip switches for your car's configuration, antenna, RF cable antenna. I'm not really exactly sure what it's used for, and then yeah, you can add a backup camera and a front camera if you want, but the car has a backup camera, and I'm not gonna need a front camera. So there's the unit, and you really, besides the socket set for disconnecting the battery, you won't need anything else because they give you actually a panel removal tool, which is perfect. Yeah, you're gonna need this, and I'm not gonna go into all the cables here, but there's all the cables. And I mean, if you just look at the quality, like everything is wrapped in cloth, it's plug and play. You don't have to cut any cables, you're just routing it through the box itself. So it's super, super nice in that way. If you follow the instructions, you really can't mess it up. One thing I want to mention is you want to disconnect your battery, the negative terminal of your battery, which means that your car will be completely powered off. So if you have an e-brake or something like that, it probably won't be helpful to have your car parked on an angle. All right, forgive me here. I'm not an automotive YouTuber, so some things, bring a cloth and a 10mm socket. So we're gonna disconnect, the other way, the negative terminal. And I just replaced the battery, so the terminals are not crusted on or whatever. It's a negative terminal, so it's safe. And what I like to do is I like to just put it like this, so I know it's resting somewhere well. You can even put it like a little flap, something like that. It'll be okay. So, all right, I already had to take a break because my battery died. So let me show you guys something. All I've done so far is take these panels off, and in the video, gotta love the video, man. The music is so calming. In the video, they're telling you to take these screws out. They actually don't do anything. It's just Lexus show, Whoops. And yeah, so that's all I've done so far. I've taken the panel off here. I've taken the panel off there. Something else I wanted to mention is when you're disconnecting the battery, you're not going to be able to move the shifter unless you're doing some sort of magic with it. You might have to reconnect the battery a little bit later, but yeah, let's get started. So all I've done so far, let me step out. I removed this panel right here, and you just use this prying tool. They give it to you, and you just gently, you know, start prying it right here on the silver part. Just gently pop it off. All right, I think it's a little easier to do this and then tell you guys how I did it. This one was a little bit of a struggle. So I just basically put my fingers here, pull it out. I got this little yellow clip to show, and then I got my pry tool and carefully try to pry it this way. You gotta love the Japanese, you know, everything's just fastened with clips type of style. This panel right here, I don't know how it goes anymore. I think it goes like this. This panel right here, you just go underneath it with your hand and you just pull it out and it just pops right out. In the video, he had a clip right here. I don't have a clip. This is a US version of a car. I don't know if that makes a difference, but yeah, this piece came out. And in case you guys are wondering what I do with the parts, I just put them in the back because they're pretty unique. I don't think I'm gonna mix them up, but I don't want them in my working area so I don't step on them or break them. It's just a precaution thing. Also, you're gonna need like some microfiber cloths later for the screen to lay down. So all right, I'm gonna go on the next part. All right, so you're gonna keep using this tool right here, and the next two pieces are this piece right here and then this piece right here. They did this wrong in the video and they actually just pried this up. And then if you see this, it hooks in, so I actually broke mine a little bit. I don't think it's gonna make a difference because these things snap in really well. You shouldn't take this one off. You need to take this one off first. When you take this one off, you don't even need a tool. You just lift this up. See, this one just has clips. There are you. Yeah, so just put these aside and go on the next one. All right, I'm gonna apologize for the bad lighting, but the next part they're telling me is to take this guy off the dashboard with this one. Well, that's it. You just very gently pull it out. All right, so the next thing they want you to take off, apologize for the bad camera, is these pieces, this whole silver piece right here. There's one trim piece. Their video, you have to be careful. Some of their stuff is not super descriptive, but if I'm gonna go try to zoom in, I'm gonna try to zoom in here. Oh my God, it's slowest zoom in the world. See that little clip right there? This guy right here. You actually want to pry him up a little bit and then you can lift it up. Look, it's lift. And that way you don't break anything. Especially this piece is one big piece, you want to be very careful. So let me try to be careful. Hey, so I really wanted to make this a how-to tutorial, but it was a lot more challenging than I thought it would. So I sort of quit halfway through recording the video and my battery kept dying. So in this part, which is actually 2-3 weeks later, I'm gonna talk a little bit more about the install, how it proceeded. I'm gonna throw up an image of kind of where I placed all my materials. And then I'm gonna talk a little bit about the support that I got from the company. And then I'm gonna give it a quick review and things, like a little bit of a pros and cons list. So about the install, so the last part where I left off, I'm not sure if I have it in the video, but the last part where I left off is I have everything basically disassembled. And I did a lot of troubleshooting. So the wiring that you see in the manual is not super straightforward in my opinion. I had a lot of hiccups, like a lot of, there's one plug that fits into, sort of here, and I'll show you. There's one plug that fits into this unit that needs to go in the back of this unit, and it's not super obvious, at least it wasn't to me, which kind of made it difficult because then I didn't get this working. And that was kind of a concern of mine. And so the really good thing about this company is they're a Chinese company, but I reached out to them because I bought my unit over eBay. I reached out to them and they reached back out to me over WhatsApp, you know, and we went a lot of back and forth, and they gave me a lot of firmware updates, which you can do through the USB port. Yeah, so that's basically how the install went. It was not super straightforward. I didn't have audio at first. My unit was booting up and I had CarPlay, but we ended up figuring that out, and I think it was the plug that was wrong. The audio comes through the aux port, but it also comes in the Lexus NX to the AV port, which is really cool that Toyota has like an aux and AV port. I'm gonna throw up an image right here real quick about where the install went for the box. It's actually really neat. In the Lexus NX, there's actually, it seems like it's made for wiring. Behind here, behind the glove box, you take this out, there's actually like a little panel and like little white slots where I wired everything up. And then as you see here, I just did an extension. You just pull out all these face masks for the USB right there. And that extension right there plugs into the USB. So this is a female USB port right here. You know, that's the unit that comes off the unit. And if you do any updates, you know, you'll do it through that. But I plug my phone in via USB, and that way my phone won't pick up the wireless CarPlay. In case I take my wife's car, this is my wife's car. When she takes it, it's wireless and it just hooks up. Another thing is you need to have the Bluetooth and the Wi-Fi connected, otherwise it will not work. Okay, so let me give you guys the pros and the cons list. All right, and then I'll turn it on and I'll go over a quick overview. So the pro is it's Apple CarPlay, and it actually makes the display, this guy right here, it actually makes them useful, because the native what do you call it? The native like entertainment system in the car is really terrible in my opinion. I haven't really met anyone who was really like excited for it. It actually makes the screen very useful, and the maps are useful and everything. So that's a huge plus. The screen actually has use. A big negative is that you get a lot of echo with the audio over a phone call, and this is not something that I was able to dial in. I went back and forth. They give me all these updates, and you have settings you can adjust. You just have to live with that, you know. There's actually kind of a problem with this car in the beginning that it has these audio issues, so maybe it stems from that. I'm not exactly sure. On full volume, if you have it, like I said earlier, there's aux and AV. If you have it on aux, you will hear a sound going like chick, 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 you know. That's kind of it's kind of strange. I guess it's because it's an analog signal instead of a digital signal, and then so it sort of makes that sounds. But you know, my two-year-old daughter was pressing buttons in the car and figured out that AV actually still transmits sound, and it does a lot better and a lot louder and a lot clearer. So that was really nice. Another huge con, I guess, would say, is the install. I've done stuff with cars, but it was definitely a little tricky, especially with, like, you have to take everything apart. The dashboard has to come off, and, you know, disconnect the battery at first because you don't know what you're touching, the airbags and stuff. But then when you're testing, you have to reconnect it. So the whole install with back and forth updates, all that took me 3 days. I think that's a little excessive. Was it worth it? I think so. I will say this as a tip, these all have clips. So whenever you're taking a panel off, like, inspect it very thoroughly, because you don't know where the clips are. Sometimes you need to pry them loose a little bit. I actually ended up breaking 2 on this, on this unit right here. I bought super glue and I fixed it, and I shoved it in very carefully. And honestly, there's an excessive amount of clips. There's no rattling. It's just one less now. One other thing is I scratched up this knob a little bit. I mean, it just happens to the install, but everything is wired up properly. Everything is neatly over here, tucked over here. And I do like that. All right, so funny thing is my wife just walked by and it actually picked up the Wi-Fi and the Bluetooth. So she's gonna walk away here and I'm probably gonna lose signal, but yeah, that's kind of how it works. The scrolling isn't super great. I think it's just kind of so when I'm scrolling left to right, yeah, so now I just lost connection, which is fine. So I'll show you guys. I'm gonna plug in my phone. See if I can do this with one hand. Come on. It always looks so easy when other people do it on the camera. All right, so the system you just saw there was the native screen. Not this is Apple CarPlay, but the system you saw there was the native screen. So if I go home, press the home button twice. Resolution isn't super great, and also there's a little loading bar down there. I think this is the way they wrote the firmware, but that's fine. It's not really in the way. And you can see the color is just a little bit off. But like I said, this screen was really useless before. So the scrolling, when I go left to right, it kind of works. Up and down isn't super great. So it's a little sensitive. So it's got all your apps here as a settings menu. Anyways, I don't need to give a review of Apple CarPlay here. That's my little genius who figured out the Apple CarPlay button. Ah! Alright, anyways, that's it for the video. I know it's a little lengthy. I would say it's worth it if you're willing to spend the time on it. It's definitely time consuming and it's not super straightforward, but this system works relatively well. And in my opinion, this made my wife pretty happy. And she doesn't have the need to buy a new car. The car's perfectly fine. Lexus and Toyotas have incredible reliability. They're just not the best on the entertainment system. So with that being said, I hope you guys found the video useful. If you guys have any questions about the install, leave it in the comments. I'll try to answer them. I really wanted to make this a how-to, but it was just getting a little bit frustrated. But anyways, let me know if you guys liked the video. I'm gonna do a couple more how-tos, how you can do a couple things differently. I see this as a little bit of a money hack because people, you know, technology in cars changes so much, and you might be tempted to purchase the next thing when you can spend $300 and you get yourself something that, you know, goes a long ways. With that, that's all for the video. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'll see you guys on the next one.